Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Babe, the Bitcoin and Blockchain Evolution. We are lucky to be joined today by Alexis Bizalion, who's going to talk to us about a project. I mean, you've been involved in a lot of projects. You're obviously an entrepreneur at heart, but we're going to talk a little bit about TokenChanger. Welcome to the show, Alexis.
Thank you, Sarah. It's great to be here.
Let's first just talk a little bit about, you have a pretty varied background, it seems like, in the business space. So tell us a little bit about what attracted you to co-found this project specifically.
Yeah, sure. So indeed, you're right. I've worked in several industries and a bit all around the world. I've just always been interested in like growing a company, creating a market for it, and helping out other companies or other individuals to grow their project. And really the way it started is 8 years ago, I was hired to open an office in Asia for a British company. And at the time I worked at the crossroad between luxury and shipping. And shipping is an industry with very low margin, where it's pretty easy to lose money on exchange rates, for example, or even just wire transfer. You know, when you're charging a documentation fees for $50, but it costs you $50 to send the money somewhere, well, suddenly it doesn't make more sense, right? So I really thought there was a better way of doing it. And I've struggled with that for, well, as I said, about 8 years. And even as an expat living abroad, being paid in pound, but living in Hong Kong, I'm French myself. I mean, you can already see the complications that I had in my daily life. And so when I met George about 7-8 months ago now, he had this idea of a platform for decentralized application, but really related to financial services. And his idea was to reduce the inefficiencies of financial services. So it's a very broad goal, right? And so I joined in as a co-founder to sort of help with the vision and define a bit the segment of market that we wanted to tackle. And the way we've structured the company, we have this big goal, and we want to develop decentralized application, or DApp, to solve one problem at a time, because obviously you can't solve them all, right? And so we're going to create, and we've already created, a series of DApps that answers problems that crypto traders may have, that in the futures companies doing international business have. So really solving issues that are related to security, transparency, or even speed of international transfer or international trade as a whole. So yeah, that's pretty much how it started.
So coming from the shipping industry, did you, are some of the first apps around the financial transfer in shipping then?
Sorry, I couldn't hear your question.
I was asking if some of your first apps were around the shipping industry, since that's where you came.
No, actually the first apps that we're developing are currently focused on the crypto ecosystem. We figured that because of the current state of technology, it's a bit too hard for a small startup in blockchain to tackle the entire shipping industry or the entire B2B outside of the crypto. So what we're doing currently is actually providing resources and solutions for crypto startups or traders. But the broad goal is indeed to go out there once we're ready for it, and help company all around the world.
So tell me a little bit then, just so that our audience can, wrap their mind around it, especially for, people who may potentially be able to use your service or want to come to you to help them develop something. Yeah. Talk about one or two specific things that you guys have have kind of that you're working on to create right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's different things. I would say that currently we're working on 4 different DApps at the same time. We started originally creating an application that allows startup doing ICOs to create an affiliate network. So it's an application that allows you to compensate for every token that you buy via our platform, the influencers that brought you there. So very simply, for example, if you want to buy our token in our upcoming ICO at a discounted price of 20%, say, you will on the internet by listening to your influencers this promo code, and once you register via this promo code, you'll get the discount. And the influencers who's passed on the message and done his job as an influencer will also be compensated for that token purchase. So for the influencer, it's great because today they're helping out the community to be aware of new startups. Often they are compensated for it, but it's not very clear how much work do they do. Is it worth for the startup actually hiring this influencer? And for them, do they feel that they are compensated enough for the work that they are putting into, right? And so we're putting, it's a direct compensation for token sale, right? And so it's done on a smart contract, it's very transparent, and it's fully decentralized, right? So it's very safe. There's no concern of safety with regards of us handling the tokens. Literally, the tokens are exchanged from your wallet to the ICO's wallet. So that's one of the decentralized applications. The second decentralized applications that we've created is a futures contract for crypto traders. So that's kind of a more complex application. And what we've tried to do here is like do a simple transaction, the apps, but also show the public we can do something much more advanced like a trading tool. And so this futures contract allows crypto traders to buy or sell futures contracts based on the value of Ether versus US, right? And today on the testnet, you can find a beta of it for a futures contract that's 3 days. And so crypto traders that wants to hold or that wants to take a position on the price of Ether, which is these days very uncertain, can actually buy this futures contract or sell it. The way we structured it, there is a maximum profit and loss. So we don't need to actually get a full collateral of the trading capital. We can just take the deposit. And the crypto traders are betting against each other. So if you're actually accurate, you can start making some money. Today it's on the testnet.
Okay, but
and the last applications that we are working on, sorry, yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. The last application we are working on, which is not on the testnet yet, we're still in the phase of planning, is a stable coin. We want to introduce a stable coin for the Ethereum ecosystem, actually a series of stable coins that we call synthetic tokens. And the idea for that is to allow traders that are trading on decentralized exchange to have access to a coin that they can go back to as a shelter or in between 2 trades, right? So it's and the way it works, you have some, we call them miners, that would go to our platform and mine those synthetic tokens using Ether, and they'll get compensated by either the trade that they do with that tokens once they've received it, and or the transaction fees that those tokens or these synthetic tokens are generating. So we're very excited about that last project.
So let me ask you a couple questions about the futures product. I am a futures trader. There aren't really any futures products out there, but for the CME and the CBOT as it comes to Bitcoin. So this would be the first Ethereum future, is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. That's completely correct. And the way we've built the platform, we started with Ethereum as a beta, but actually we could use any other token really, as long as traders are happy to trade those futures. We can create it. We can change any variables also in the futures.
So you have basically every day there's a new contract that expires in 3 days. So you can make it, you can make it 5, 7, 10, 12, ultimately,
yeah.
like the S&P futures. They have
ultimately we'll have. That's correct. We'll have 24-hour, 3 days, 5 days, 15, and a month. Ultimately, as long as the traders are happy to trade them, we'll trade them. It also means that we can. Today we're doing Ether US, but we could do Ripple US or Bitcoin US. It really doesn't matter to us. The trades are done in Ether today, but again, the plans at medium term are to for us to be able to accept Bitcoins or any other blockchain.
What kind of participation do you anticipate with that? What kind of volume do you anticipate with that type of product? I would think that would be pretty exciting for a lot of people to have that offering. Have a futures contract with margin associated with it.
I agree. I think, our target market is pretty diverse because it really is anybody that holds Ether, because we started with Ether, or want to trade with Ether, right? So any crypto trader out there that wants to hedge their risk can use those futures contracts. But also, when you think about it, any startup that is doing an ICO today and will be sitting on 10,000 Ether tomorrow, if they do a successful ICO, might want to think of how to hedge their fund, how to make sure that if the profit goes down, they sort of insure that holding. So it's massive.
Let's talk a little bit then about your ICO. And I can see you guys have it sort of mapped out. You're already well on the way. It looks like you're meeting the goals of your map. So what are you guys anticipating from your ICO?
So our ICO will start. We're doing a pre-sale at the end of this month and month of April, and then the ICO will be current May. We're pretty excited about it. We're doing in April. We're doing a massive airdrop bounty program to help the community really play with our platform. So we'll be distributing 3% of the total amount of tokens that we have, which is quite a lot. I think it's one of the biggest airdrop you can find today. The equivalent at ICO day is about $4 million when you think about it, that we're giving away. So it's quite a lot. And the way we've done it, we're trying to be a bit different from any ICO out there. We're creating this type of game where bounty hunters or ICO participants will have to find on our social medias a response code or a code, and then go onto our platform and place that code and essentially get the tokens directly on their account on the platform. So it's kind of different, and at the same time, we hope that it's going to generate a lot of engagement for our community. We've got already a community that's pretty engaged, but it's always good since we are, it's a very advanced platform. It's fully decentralized, so there's a few things to know when you've never interacted with a decentralized platform. So that's one way for us to not only gain future users, but also educate everybody on how to use this type of platform. So you need MetaMask on your Chrome to interact with it, and so it's a bit particular. So we're doing that for both the whole ecosystem to educate the community, and also for us in order for them to discover the platform, play with it, get used to the way it works. Once the ICO is done, they already have their account created on the platform. They already have some tokens that they can decide to trade or even vest. Actually, we've created that system where you, at the end of the ICO, you can decide to vest the token that you've received during this airdrop. And if you vest them, you double the number of tokens that we'll give you. So same, it's always trying to make that work. The way we've structured our token is a bit different from what you can see out there. We've got two tokens, actually. We have a non-tradable token that you receive as a reward for interacting with the platform. Think of it like a coupon when you go at the supermarket. You can't really do anything with this coupon, but you know that if you go to Trader Joe's or wherever you go shopping, you have these coupons. And then we have a tradable token, the TOC, that will periodically exchange against this non-tradable token. So that means really a couple of things. It means that, first of all, we can compensate users that are using the platform through the different DApps on a very equal manner, depending on if you're using the platform this month or next month, because the non-tradable token doesn't change, its value doesn't change. So that was kind of something we were thinking about, is if you give, say, 1 token every time you interact with the platform, if the token is worth 15 cents today and $3 tomorrow, how is that fair for the person that participated at the beginning, right? And so periodically, we'll have also to go back to the market, buy our own token from the market to compensate users that are using the platform. So that means that the price, intrinsically, the price of our token will increase for as many users we have, new user we have. Yeah, so the airdrop that we're organizing, we're giving away this non-tradable token, and then at the end of the ICO, you can choose to trade them against the tradable token that is then on any exchange, or to vest it and get the double amount of token at the end of 12 months.
So I'm curious, in terms of, for example, I have a girlfriend who owns a website that's specifically focused on looking for people who have new ideas that are utilizing sort of blockchain technology. People who are already in the business space, who are learning about crypto and learning about blockchain and just have new, exciting ideas. So is what you guys are working on, is that something where you are actually actively sort of listening to and I guess taking meetings on what's the next thing, what's the next app we can create? Or are you kind of focusing,
right.
I mean, just the token changing stuff is like a full-time job, I feel like.
It is, yeah. So, I mean, at first, we definitely have a roadmap that we want to follow with projects that we believe will help the ecosystem as it grows. We believe that for investors and anybody that interacts with our platform, they want to interact with it tomorrow. They don't want to wait in 3 years. And some of the projects that we think of will probably it's not realistic to say that we can do it tomorrow, right? So I'd say there's ideas that we have and that other people have. Some of them are realistic today and others are not. To answer your question more precisely, we are in the apps currently, but in the future, we're very open to develop the apps for even other companies, right? Why not? Absolutely. And also, we are actively listening. So I think you're correct. I mean, I'm always out there talking to crypto traders in communities, understanding, what are their problems and how we could help them. The platform is the underlying platform that allows us to create the apps is very powerful and flexible, and it allows us to say in a couple of years create a decentralized exchange if we want to, or create trading tools that interact with that decentralized exchange, or even have B2B or companies all around the world that needs money transfer instantly to interact directly with this platform through a new DApp, right? It also allows us to do derivatives products or binary options or anything we want, really. So there's two things that comes into play when we're looking at what DApps we want to do is first, obviously, the current demand of like how many traders today are using that tool or would be using that tool if we created it. And then, is the technology of today good enough for what we want to do? Because that's something in the blockchain that's quite recurrent, is that the ecosystem as a whole is still building it, right? We're building up the tools to build that cathedral. So if you want to make a bell, you need an oven that's strong enough. And so sometimes we are limited by the technology itself, simply. But I'm happy to talk with anybody that have great ideas in how to improve the ecosystem, and very likely we like to be involved. Absolutely.
It sounds super exciting. I think you guys have a ton going on, and I feel like we'll probably need to be talking to you again multiple times in the future as these new projects evolve. But in the meantime, for our listeners who are interested, who want to see more, who want to play with the platform, who want to get involved in the ICO, where do they find you? How do they get engaged in your community?
So engage in a community, I'd say the best way would be on our Telegram, which is Join TokenChanger on Telegram. In order to contact me, I'm on Twitter at Alexis Bizalion, or on LinkedIn, where I'm very active on LinkedIn, so it's probably the best way to reach me.
It's funny, LinkedIn, it's like the crypto space is on LinkedIn. I thought it was dead and I was wrong. It is resurrected. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much taking the time to spend with us. Alexis Bizalion, my co-host, Matt Davio, Sarah Herring, thank you guys so much again for tuning in to Babe, the Bitcoin and Blockchain Evolution.
Thank you.